All right. We are finishing out what was the 3-day training. So I'm very excited to meet with you guys one last time. The final thing that we're going to talk about is the communication plan. And this is the plan of communication between the different groups that are part of the SEEK study. So when we talk about communication, we talk about it occurring with 3 different groups. So one group is with the consumers. You'll remember from the enrollment training some of these icons, I believe, but the consumer is the little blue person. So the consumer will communicate with you guys, and then also the peer data collectors. And anytime there's communication with you, the arrows are white. Anytime it's the peer data collectors, the arrows are yellow. There's also communication between the admin team, which consists of the 2 evaluator researchers up top, which is me and Sarah McCassin, the 4 SEEKS Office of Independent Living staff, which is Peter, Charlene, Sarah, and Ruby, and then with you guys as well. And so again, you see those communication arrows is white, the communication between us is purple. And finally, there's communication between our team and the peer data collectors. And we haven't fleshed out this communication approach as much. This is kind of a sense of how I think it's going to go, but it might change. But today we're going to really focus on the first 2, communication with consumers and communication between the admin team and all of you. So let's talk about communication with consumers. So you'll remember this from enrollment, right? That a consumer comes in, they come into the SIL, they talk to the staff, they say, I want to apply for SSI or SSDI. You determine they're likely eligible, and then we begin the enrollment into the SEEKS process. And so I'm not going to go over that, but there's a couple things that I want to stress in how we communicate with the participants. So the first thing that happens is what we call contact. So they contact you, and then you get permission for us to contact them. So that little thing that just appeared on the right side of the contact box, that's the online permission to contact form that you were trained on in the enrollment pieces, and that we talked about in the research piece. So the very first thing, again, remember for HIPAA, we can't, as a research team, we can't reach out to people unless they give us permission. And that permission to contact form is one big piece of that. So the first thing is contact, that's done by you. Then, as you see this changes to yellow, the peer data collectors will then contact them and get consent. And then they'll also get data. And so you're the one who gets the initial contact, permission to contact, and then you go about delivering services. We'll let you know if they join the study, if they need to be with the treatment team or not, but you start with business as usual. And then we'll contact them to get the consent and to get the data. So let's talk, probably the bigger part of the communication plan is us with you and you with us. And you see it's 2-way arrows. So we talk to you, you talk to us, we're one big team. We all need to be communicating with each other. So just as a kind of broad overview, I'll go into all of these, but we'll let you know when a participant enrolls in the study, what group he or she is in. We'll track your training and your needs so that we make sure that we have them, we're meeting them. But again, so for the larger study, if other people want to replicate this, we'll make sure that we understand what those training and needs are so they know if they're going to roll it out in their state. We're going to talk to you about potential adverse events, if any come up, right? We'll have ongoing discussions with any concerns you have about how things are going in SEEKS, and we'll be answering any questions. So after a participant enrolls, you'll get an email from us telling you the participants enrolled in SEEKS and what group they're in. And we had shown you this in a previous training, but you'll get this form that will tell you, it'll have your name on, it'll have the consumer's name on, it'll tell you what group they're in, right? And then that's your way to then set up the system, is you need to set it up so that you can keep clear who's in the treatment, who's in control, so that we don't get that contamination. During the calls, we're going to ask you how things are going. We'll provide any additional training. As we hear about things coming up, things that we learn in Fidelity, maybe where we weren't clear, we'll do training on that. If we see some things happening that maybe should or shouldn't be happening, we'll do training about that. Or if we see something that's not happening that should, we'll do training. And as we said, once a quarter, we'll contact you specifically to talk to you about a case to kind of look and assess whether fidelity, whether the way that you're delivering the services matches with how it should be for the treatment or how it should be for business as usual. As we do these trainings, we track. When you get trained, we track the topics, we track possible pre and post test scores, and that just helps us with the evaluation of the grant to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. But it also, again, provides a roadmap for other states if they want to roll this out to kind of think through. So the pieces that are just research, maybe other states don't need to worry about, but we'll still track them so that we have the fidelity and we can answer to the integrity of our research. But the other pieces that might help other states roll this out and do it well, we're going to track that as well. So we'll be doing those pieces. So the other way that we'll communicate, right, is potential adverse events. So we need to hear from you if you think, this is like that whole suspicion. If you see suspicious activity, if you see something that you think could be an adverse event, but you're not sure, it's better to just talk. So just kind of as a reminder to get this in your head. In the neighborhood, who you gonna call? Strange. You're gonna call me. So if something's going on and you're not sure if it's an adverse event or not, go ahead and call me. And remember, the adverse event isn't just harming, right? Which we talked about, if it's harm, but also if you think someone made a mistake, if you didn't follow protocol, if you think someone didn't follow protocol, let us know. If something happens, something gets lost, let us know. If a participant in the study, if you find out they become incarcerated, pregnant, decisionally impaired, or ward of the state, let us know so that we can handle that. And if you find out that we thought someone met our inclusion criteria that didn't, then again, we need to know that so that we can address that. So we'll continue to train you about SEEKs, about the delivery of the intervention, about what that business as usual is. We'll continue to train and talk to you about recruitment, about privacy, about adverse events. And as you saw at the end of every section, right, bring these things up on biweekly calls. That's what that's for. So we're going to continue. This is not, you're not done with training. You're not done with talking about this. This is stuff that will kind of continue to go on. So in our face-to-face training, one of the analogies that came up was this concept of a three-legged chicken. And so there was a story that was told of this farmer who his family really liked the legs. They thought that was the best part of the chicken. So they bred a three-legged chicken so that he, his wife, and his son could all have a drumstick. And but it turns out the chickens ran really fast. And someone asked him how it was going and if it really worked. And his answer was, I don't know, we haven't been able to catch the chickens. So you have an idea, you create an idea, you think it's going to work, but it may not work, right? And so part of our ongoing discussions is, how are things going? Did we create a chicken that we can't really tell if it works? Did we create a chicken that's working well, that's not working well, right? And so maybe we don't want a three-legged chicken. Maybe what we wanted was a three-legged rooster. Maybe what we really wanted was an eight-legged chicken, right? And so the ongoing discussions are to help us as we see what's going on, as we think about things. We're going to have data to tell us at the end if things worked, but the ongoing discussions are part of that data, right? So we have the participants' data, but we'll have your data and your perspectives. And so you need to just feel free to keep talking to us about things so that we understand things, right? And those ongoing discussions are communication between us and you. And the last part of the communication plan is asking questions. We've tried to create an atmosphere where you can ask questions if you have them. I think the worst thing is where people have questions and don't ask. There's no such thing as a dumb question to me, like ever. If you don't know it, then it's not bad to ask about it. If you don't understand something we ask you to do, ask us so we can explain it to you. If you're not sure something's wrong, ask us. If you're curious about things, just ask us. So anytime you feel confused, just let us know. So this is the last thing I'm gonna end with here. always think I'm clear in these things. I always think I've figured out ways to explain things, and that's rarely true. I rarely get 100% of the people understanding what I'm saying. And so I get it. And if you don't understand something, talk to me and I'll try to come up with a different way to explain it. But we are partners in this process. And I need you to ask me questions and I need to be able to ask you questions. So final thing, final time I'll show this to you. If you have any concerns or questions, bring them up on the biweekly call. Reach out to me, email me. Again, this is an important thing that we're doing. It's very exciting what we're doing, and I'm really excited to be doing it with you. So let's just kind of keep the communication open so that if there's something comes up, we can address it rather than waiting. So thanks.